Let me know that you can hear me and see me in the what's it, in the chat. Am I vaguely in focus? I think I might be. Can't entirely see myself, that's always the problem. But good evening, you're very welcome here to this evening's Molten Live chat. Good to see some people in the chat already chatting. But do let me know that you can hear and we'll get started. I'll just turn this nonsense down a little bit. Got my stuff working, yeah. Hello, Miguel, James, McGrumpy, DJ Rick, spinning on those wheels of steel. Good to see you. I'm going to kick off with a beer actually because I'm quite thirsty, very tired. So just while we're waiting for people to gather. And then we'll get started. Hey, Fully Wired, good to see you. So first of all, I'd like to raise a glass to the Lionesses, 2-1 over Germany. Sorry, a man from Germany, he was here. I saw you saying hi from Germany. Hi, welcome, you're very welcome. But congratulations to the English team. That was fantastic. That was odd, that whole corner flag business, but you know, getting past that. It's just so awesome to win something at football, which is great. So yeah, that was fun. Top job, well done, good job. I need to turn this down for the moment so that we could talk to each other. Yeah, drinking, not soldering this evening, no. So how have you all been? I've been away this week, partially, see how active there is, if I cared what you thought there for a minute. But no, I've been away this week. We took a very quick trip up to Alton Towers. For those of you who have an international bent who don't know what that is, it's kind of a slightly crap version of Disneyland, which is what we do well. What we do well in England, in the UK, a slightly crap version of things. Just, why is that? Don't like the fact that that cable's hanging out like that. That's a worry. It'll survive. It'll survive. So yeah, so that's where I've been the last couple of days, which was great. Borrowed a van from a mate, which was fantastic. Cashed in some Tesco's vouchers. That's all happening. So it was essentially like a free trip, except for petrol, which of course made it an extremely expensive trip. But other than that, fantastic. Stayed in a little campsite up a stone's throw from the park, which was really nice. We got on a bus and got there in 5 minutes. It was fantastic. So I had a lovely time. Going on outrageous roller coasters. Now that I haven't been, I mean, I would say I was a fan of Alton Towers, but I haven't been for probably 35 years. And it's changed. In fact, it's changed so much that the corkscrew, which I thought was the top roller coaster at the time, is now just a memorial. They have a part of the track, the corkscrew part of the track out the front, as a memorial to roller coasters gone by, which was a little bit sad, I have to say. But other than that, everything was new. Nothing was recognisable. I could not fathom the layout of anything. I think the only thing that was there from last time was, and not that this is synthesizer related. We'll get to the synthesizer stuff in a minute. We're just warming up. The only thing that was recognisable was the rapids. I think where you sit in a big. Well, a number of you sit in a round thing, which is almost like it's an enormous tractor tyre, and you bounce on down the rapids. And that, I seem to remember that was there. That was next to the log flume, which of course isn't there anymore. And the log flume and the rapids used to have massive, massive queues. But now, 10 minutes, because it's like well tamed compared to anything else. But otherwise, there was nothing that I could recognise about the layout. Although, having said that, there's an area over on one side where the Smiler and Oblivion were, and that, I'm pretty sure, is where the old pirate ship and the black hole used to be. I think it was, because it's mostly recognisable because of the restaurant at the top of all this concrete. That has always been there. Then there was kind of this cascade of concrete which went down to the pirate ship, and to the right was the black hole of old. Because I remember back in 1980, we went the first season the black hole opened, and it wasn't really fully open. They sort of let you in a side door because all the front bit hadn't been finished. And we went on it about 15 times because we were there like in March or something. But anyway, as far as the end of July goes, it wasn't that busy. I mean, the longest we queued was probably half an hour, which isn't bad at all. Not bad at all. But anyway, so that was my last 2 days, and I'm knackered because I drove this huge van all the way up to Staffordshire. And then spent a day killing myself on rides and feeling very old, and then drove back the next day. So that was yesterday, and I've had a little bit of sleep, but today I've been working flat out just to recoup all my losses from going away. You know, like an idiot when you're self-employed, when you're freelance, going away on a nice holiday is always a disaster in terms of work. But hey, there we go. So we're doing that all day until, of course, the football came on. I was able to just about finish up before that started and thoroughly enjoyed that match. I thought it was incredibly evenly matched. It could have been anybody's game. I think we were fortunate, but both sides played really well. I thought there was nothing wrong with that. That was a fine game of football, I would say. the hole-in-one is still there, but it's win £1,000. And there's a whole bunch of idiot blokes giving that a go. There's no way you're getting that in. I mean, the green around it is like a dome. So it's going to have to go straight in the hole. Absolutely straight in the hole. There's no hitting it onto the green and dribbling it in. No way. That's having to go straight in. So that was there. Yes. So who else we got? Ken, good to see you. The pagoda is still there. What does that look like? Do you mean... Oh, yeah, no, the gardens are still as fabulous as ever. Absolutely. Hey, Jay Nothing is over on Twitch. God bless you, sir. Keeping it real over there where the crazy kids are. That's great. Keeping us in there with the trendy stuff. That's awesome. I mean, roller coasters usually... I mean, funfair roller coasters scare the heck out of me because I don't travel well in terms of sort of travel sickness. So the things I hate the most are those flipping teacups. Sit me in one of a teacup and turn me around slowly and I will be chucking up all over the place. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. It's anything that spins. Except for waltzers. I think I can cope with waltzers for some reason. But teacups that spin, carousels of horses that go up and down, up and down, up and down. No, I can't stand it. But, you know, a good drop, a good fall, a good loop, yeah. Yeah, is good. I like that sort of thing. Yeah, Adam, 13 I think is my top ride. I would say that was the best ride of the lot because I had no knowledge of it at all. In fact, it's funny because it was mostly me and my two boys who went round everything. My wife is not particularly into roller coasters, and my daughter, who's 11, 10, I forget. Just isn't really into it, and that's fine. So it was me and the two boys who went around most of the rides. But as we were queuing up for 13, we were just sort of talking about it again. We have no idea what this is about. Is it good? Is it? We don't know. But it was actually the best ride, and I'll tell you why. Because it was smooth. It was smooth. It was exciting. It had a great drop at the start. It had a thing I wasn't expecting, which I won't tell you about because that would spoil it. And which was just class. It was just really very, very good. Far too many of them were just jerking you about and bashing you around so you felt half beaten up when you got off them, and I don't find that particularly fun. So Nemesis, which I was looking forward to, I thought it was like quite violent, and I don't know, I mean, maybe if you go on things 2 or 3 times you start to appreciate the nuance, but really it was like hell being thrown around that thing. So for me, just to finish this little thing off, 13 was the best. And then I liked Oblivion. I liked the straightforward drop into a hole. Fantastic. No messing about. No other story or thing going on. Drop straight through a hole. That was great. And then Wicker Man, I think that was also very good. It's over a bit quick. I think Wicker Man could be longer, would be my thing. But they were my top 3, I would say. But fun day. Fun day. So anyway, back to synthesizers and crap. Let's talk about that. What are we doing? So, what was special about anything at all? I don't know. What have we been? Well, we've been through... I mean, I found the last month of July to be quite hard work. I mean, partially it was the heat, of course. Obviously, we all suffered from the heat. And that's sort of maintained, even though it's not got up to the same heights. But it's been quite difficult to work. I found that quite hard. Excuse me, I'm just going to take my socks off. I hope you don't mind. There's one. That's as far as it goes. It's annoying my feet at the moment, so it's still pretty warm in here. But, yeah, I found the heat quite hard to work in, to do anything in. And then in terms of news, there wasn't a whole lot about. I mean, I still managed to fill a bleeding hour of the Molten Monthly with stuff. But there wasn't a whole lot to choose from. I just kind of had to talk about everything I came across, which was interesting. It means I talked about some smaller stuff, maybe. I talked about a whole bunch of complex oscillators, which I probably would have only chosen 1 or 2. But I decided to do the whole lot just for fun. So I'm quite happy to talk about that or answer any questions on my views on complex oscillators. That's all fine. Yes, that's all fine. Hi Andrew, how you doing? Good to see you. No, no. Alton Towers with modular. No, that would be a bad. That would be a bad thing, I think. But the other thing we can talk about this evening is the potential of the forthcoming Molten Modular Synth Meet, which is a bit of a mouthful, I have to say. But things could get exciting. I mean, I keep thinking about it a little bit too much because I have other things to do. But I'm going to have to decide very, very soon whether I'm going to really grab hold of it and go for it and turn it into a bit of a thing, or, you know, whether just to let it drip along a little bit. You talk about Look Man No Computer's organ. Has he got that whole thing working yet? Has he brought the? I mean, he brought the whole church organ into his place. I mean, I've played some church organs. Molten Fest. No, too much like Synth Fest, you see. I mean, Molten Modular Meet is pretty good, but I would also like it to include synthesizers. I don't want it to just be a modular event necessarily, although it will most undoubtedly have that kind of focus. But yeah, but so I guess the main question which was raised today is whether it's best to do it as like a free event in the back of a pub somewhere. Everybody's welcome. Half dozen people come down, and you know, we have a bit of a jam, that kind of thing. Whether it's that kind of event, or whether we upscale it a little bit, get a decent venue, book some performers. Well, book some performers. I don't quite know how that works. And potentially charge entry or charge for tables, or a mixture, or somewhere in between the two. I mean, what do people think? Do people think that it's better just being a free for all kind of, you know, cheap and cheerful event, or would you prefer something which is in a larger venue with a better sound system for some proper performances through the day? That kind of thing. What would people prefer? You know, I don't mean would you prefer a good one or a crap one. I just mean would you prefer just a relaxed, simple, freebie type thing, get together, or something a bit more organised and performance orientated, perhaps. That's my question for this evening that I wanted to chew on a little bit, because I don't know. I mean, it could go either way. I mean, a lot of it all comes down to finding a venue, which reminds me, Steve. Yeah, no, I don't think the boat's a goer. I mean, it's a lovely idea to get on the steamboat and do that, but I think that's asking for too much of a commitment from people to turn up at a certain time to get on the boat and make that happen. You know, it needs to be a little bit more open than that. And honestly, Norwich is easier to find than it is to try to find Hickling or Ludham or somewhere like that in order to catch a boat. So, yeah. And also, it's probably now going to be in the winter. End of October or end of November or December, really. But we're trying to find the right spot is difficult, because there's stuff happening in September, and September's a bit too close anyway. I think there's the Barcelona meet in September, which I think I might be going to. Then we've got Synthfest, of course, at the beginning of October. So we don't want to be too close to that, but also we don't necessarily want to be too close to Christmas. So trying to find a spot between those, I think, is the ideal, is the sweet spot. Because as soon as things turn into December, it starts getting a bit Christmas, and that's going to book out places again. Somebody asked me what I thought of the Gaz and Steve Davis jams. Yeah, fantastic. What a riot. It's a great thing to do. Absolutely excellent. And I thought they did a marvellous job. And I need to listen to it with a little bit more detail, I think, so I can come up with a proper appraisal. But I know both of them are really excited about it. And it's great to see that sort of thing come together. Fantastic. Also, Steve's Utopia Strong record turned up as well while I was away. So I haven't yet managed to get it onto the turntable. And when I can find a 5 minutes, I'll sit down and give it a good listen. So I've deliberately not listened to the Utopia Strong album because I've been waiting for the flipping vinyl, which has taken ages. But it is beautiful. It is a beautiful piece of vinyl. So I'm looking forward to listening to that. And I'll let you know what I think. But I think it's pretty good. I mean, Utopia Strong have been touring all over the place. And they've just been doing brilliantly well. I'm so pleased for them. You know, he's just fantastic. Just doing such a great job. And it's so good to see this sort of weird music out there. You know, these weird combinations, modular synthesis live on stage with other things going on. Just brilliant. Those are wise words, Ian. Sensible words coming from you too. That, yeah, performing songs live, I think, I mean, that's certainly what I think. I mean, my vibe now, well, it has been for some time, although, I mean, it hasn't worked, but the vibe I'm working towards is you work up an idea and a patch or whatever it is, and then you record it, video and audio, onto a tape machine, and it's done. You've got the video, you've got the audio. I'm not having to create an animated front end or like pretend to do some kind of acting somewhere. Although those are good. I mean, I enjoy a good music video. And I may think about, you know, taking some shots of water or lightning or birds flying or something. Who knows? Who knows? But for me, the whole concept of recording and creating music is very much in that live space. You know, I'm kind of done with long productions and pouring over a piece of music. Well, it depends. I mean, I'm talking about for my own music, for myself, not if I'm writing music for somebody else. That's a whole different matter. But trying to generate my own music, you know, I'm a big fan of what it is in that moment, and going with that. I like that a lot. You know, I think there's moments of brilliance in that, as well as probably a load of old crap. But you know, there's what annoys me the most is producing a load of old crap through days and days of wrangling with a DAW and trying to find the right noise, you know, trying to find the right sound to go with a particular thing that I'm attempting to do. That is the biggest waste of time ever. But you know, a few bum notes in a modular performance, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that as a talking point. Is what that is. So the Village Green sound system votes for a large sound system. Do you have one in your Village Green? Sounds like you might do. So you vote for that, but then you would. Okay. Worth travelling for, not just for an hour. Yeah. Small one to start off. Unless you get Steve Davis, then maybe get a bit bigger. See? I mean, you end up in this strange chicken and egg situation where you don't really know. I mean, things you don't know, right? When starting off, when kicking off an event like this, things you don't know. If anyone would come, if anyone would perform, if the people who would perform would be any good, whether people would want to come to see the people who are performing. Realising I don't actually know anybody who's a famous performer and being far too shy to ask anyone. All of these things make for a poor event promoter or event organizer, you know, because I hate asking people things. I'd much rather it was volunteered, or ultimately I just do it myself. You know, I do everything myself because that's the only way that I can be sure I'm not going to fall out with myself, and it will get done, and it will be to a level of quality and satisfaction that I'm satisfied with. You know what I mean? Once you start then having to work with other people, you let in all sorts of possibilities. Possibilities for things being greater, but also possibilities for things not. So it's a conundrum for someone like me, so used to working by myself. But at the same time, I'm quite excited by the idea. Quite excited about the idea of putting on this event, because I mean I've put on events before. It's not as if I haven't done that. I did the first computer music exhibition at Turnkey many years ago, when no one had ever thought of doing such a thing. It was like the first computer music expo ever, and that was in the Turnkey Music Shop up and down the floors in Media Tools. We had everybody in. It was a fantastic event. We did seminars and all sorts. I did this fantastic talk on introduction to computer music and try and boggled people's minds with the difference between MIDI and audio and things like that. Spectacular it was. So yeah, I'm not afraid of that kind of thing. It's just, you know, the fear that it might not be great. It might be a bit mediocre, I suppose. Anyway, I'm talking and other people are trying to talk. Would that be an in-person meet only or a hybrid thing? Do you mean would it be live streamed? I don't think it would. I mean, hopefully we'll take lots of video and then we can upload that later. But it would be an in-person thing, yes. An actual event in Norwich. I mean, Norwich is not close to anyone in particular, but the idea being that a lot of events happen in London, a lot of events happen up north, in Sheffield, Leeds, places like that, which is great. All power to them. But nothing really happens in the east of England in terms of modular synthesizers. We do have the Norwich Synthesizer Club, which is great, and we have the open mic nights in Norwich, which is also great. So those two things are happening. The Synth Club is struggling to find its feet again after COVID, and the idea for this event kind of came out of talking to my other friends in the Norwich Synth Club as to maybe that we should do something bigger, something more ambitious to ignite some enthusiasm and to also uncover more synth enthusiasts in the area to come along to an event, and then they would learn that there is such a thing as a Norwich Synth Club, and maybe they would come along to that as well. So this is kind of all rolled into the same idea. Similarly with the open mic night, I mean that's held its own, I think, rather well. But then it's a broader idea. It's not just sort of modular synths and stuff. I mean, people can bring more, you know, Electron stuff or Novation stuff and play with that. It's a much more mixed electronic music, DJ-esque kind of event, and so that has a slightly broader appeal, I think. But yeah, trying to get all these things together, trying to dwell on all those sorts of vibes and bring them together into one larger event. So I mean, just to outline it, the idea being it would run for a day, like 12 o'clock, like lunchtime, or 12 o'clock before lunch, through to, again, depending either to the early evening or to later if we think we might have reason to put on some perhaps bigger performances later. So I quite like the idea. I mean, I've been to the modular meetup in Leeds, you know, DivKids one, and that was great. I did that a few years ago, and the idea there was that you had you open space where people brought their modulars to show, and then you had performances, maybe a 15-minute performance, and then an hour later another 15-minute performance, and an hour later another one. That kind of vibe during the day. So I quite like that. So that's kind of what I'm going for. So the idea would be that for this day, people who would like to bring their modular synthesizers or their synthesizers to show the public, and it will be fairly public, would book a table, set their stuff up and stand by it and talk to people. That's kind of it. And other people would just come and look. And there would hopefully be some kind of shop to buy stuff from. I'm sure I can find a pop-up store. I'm sure Blick and Synths would be in there up for it. I'm sure if I give them a shout. To have a bit of a shop to buy some modular. We'd also have a raffle. I've got a whole load of stuff I can give away. And also potentially, hopefully, raise some money for some good causes at the same time. I'd be totally into that. I'm currently looking into musical charities in Norfolk. I've had a look at a couple. I'll consider any other options if anybody knows anyone who you think would be into the idea of being supported by a modular event. Ongoing as well, not necessarily just this one-off event, but I am personally interested in being able to use modular in a very positive way in terms of local community or people who don't normally get access to this sort of stuff. So all of that's good, trying to pull all of these different threads together. And it's great. I mean, what it does to my soul, if you like, is it makes me feel like I'm opening up, because I can get very, very blinkered and narrow-minded, where I feel under a lot of pressure of making videos on different modules and different synths, which is something I want to do, and I'm trying to do that. But it's also good to think outside yourself a bit more, and to think in terms of community, and to think in terms of getting out there and performing. I think those are very healthy attitudes. Did I explain that very well? So yeah, during the day, people show their modular, other people come and look around, and then performances during the day perhaps, and then if we have enough people and enough interest, then performances in the evening as well. Gonna have to see what we've got. Maybe would it be worth doing a seminar, a half-hour presentation on this is modular or something? Would that be interesting? Maybe. But all these things are up for discussion, really. And so the question becomes: do we just try to find a free room in a pub somewhere? You know, going along to the open mic night, the electronic music open mic on Thursday in Norwich, which is in a new pub. Well, not a new pub, but a new venue for us, which has this downstairs area for performance and bits and pieces. So I'm going to check that out. It might not be big enough, but I'm going to have a look at that as a possible venue. But otherwise, we could kind of upgrade it a bit and go for a larger venue like Epic Studios or Norwich Arts Centre, the Forum even, you know, the thing right in the middle of Norwich. Which is in front of the library. I think they'd love that. You can all sit up in Pizza Hut watching. These are real possibilities, you know. So, and I'm just still thinking about what it should be, what it should look like, how big a room, those sorts of things. Yeah, the end of October is half term. Andrew, I was thinking about that first weekend actually, because that is a weekend that could possibly be it. And also I think I might be away for the half term after that, so I can squeeze it in then. For other reasons, various reasons, trying to get the right date is going to be important. Wouldn't organised events make for better videos? Maybe. I mean, the bigger the event gets, the less chance I'm going to have to enjoy it, because I'm going to have to be fussing about the whole time, getting things done and checking things are working. And, you know, if it's just in the back of a pub somewhere, nobody cares if the whole lot breaks or doesn't work or it goes up in smoke or we haven't got the video on, you know. We'll just blag it, just wing it. So the bigger it gets, it's a thing. Bigger the better, make it worth stopping the night somewhere. If we're in a hotel sort of place with rooms. Yeah, I think with that, I mean, I've looked at venues now, and the thing you run into is the difficulty of it becoming like a wedding. If it's a wedding, if they see it as a wedding, then you're screwed as far as the costs of place goes. It just goes, boom, that's £3,000, please, and you go, oh, all right. You know, and there's plenty of sort of big country houses and venues like that outside of Norwich that could absolutely accommodate rooms and stuff. But that's, you know, you're talking Nam now, you're talking Anaheim and things like that, being opposite the Four Seasons or something. So I'm not sure that's going to work. But there's plenty of places to stay in Norwich if that was your thing. It's quite exciting, the idea that people would do that. Oh my god, it's got to be good! No! So no poker modular Pam's night out steamboat trip. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe the Friday night before the gig is the Friday night is the steamboat modular night. Wow. It's got to be out of season by then now, hasn't it? Don't you think? We'll be freezing our nuts off. Oh dear. Oh, there's Knobcom in September. That's the other thing that's in September. Hi, Moog. Oh, McFeud is voting for a relaxed, small event with live streaming. Okay. Yeah, on my 50th Molten live show. Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I looked at it when I typed that into the description. I'm going, 50? Is that? I mean, should we be celebrating that? And I thought, well, actually, no. I've done so many other live streams that aren't quite this, that are almost this, that are other things. I don't think the number's really that relevant anymore. So I do appreciate that. Yeah, 50 or something of these particular format stuff, but you know, I don't think the numbers are that important anymore. Hi Robin, how you doing? That's a nice name. I have not worked out any of that Rosum Eurorack. I don't know what any of it's about. It's there's levels to Eurorack, you know. I think there's well, to any sort of modular for that matter, where there's just stuff I don't comprehend. I mean, me and Gaz were talking about this actually, funnily enough, because whenever you're testing something on a video, whenever you're showing something, somebody says, "Oh, all right, it's all right, so that's good for audio rate modulation then," and you go, "Well, I guess it is. Yeah, you can stick audio rate modulation in here." Why does anybody do that? Why does everybody always want to stick audio rate modulation into something? I mean, all you get is that kind of Doctor Who weird scratchy sound. Why? I don't know, but for some people audio rate modulation is the bee's knees. You just want dissonance and clanging for some reason, but that's not something that particularly interests me. What am I talking about now? Oh yeah, no, different levels of things. So things like the pan harmonium, it's like, what is that about? Complex oscillators, like I spoke about in the Molten Monthly video. It's like life is complex enough, you know. Music is already complicated. I don't want to have to make it more complicated necessarily by having to run everything into everything else. Of course it makes interesting sounds. Funny enough, I was directed to one of my old videos about the Bafako, why do I have that to hand? The Bafako Even VCO. And I did a really good demo of that. It was fantastic. That's what inspired this little thing. I was just trying to work out, how did I do that? And so I sort of dreamt up how I was doing that and tried to make it happen again. It's nowhere near as nice. But it's something like it. Anyway, so what were we saying? You're a famous performer, Robin. Oh, bless you, sir. Am I? Does Eurorack cure preset hell? Yeah, it does. It does, absolutely. Yeah. It's brilliant for that. It also brings in a whole level of, I can't get a flipping sound out of this that I like, as a different sort of hell, I suppose. Just getting plinky plonk sounds and I can't quite work out why. So you have that instead, where sometimes, you know, finding another good preset is helpful. But it is a different thing, and I definitely feel released from the idea of presets. I mean, you know, 6 of one, half dozen the other. I mean, I spent a lot of time on the GeForce SEM that they did recently. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Thoroughly enjoyed going through those presets. It was just a delight. You know, I spent a couple of hours just enjoying it and enjoying other people's sounds that they'd created with it. Yeah, and that's cool. So it always has its place. But when trying to create my own music, I would much rather not spend hours going through presets. you know, and this prevents that, absolutely. It does also mean, I mean, it means many things. It means that you get dragged towards doing things the same every time. I'm patching it the same, doing things in a similar way because, oh, I've worked out something that works, and so I'll do that again and I'll do that again. And from one point of view, that's called practice. That's called getting to know your instrument. But from another point of view, that's like finding something that works and sticking with it because you're too scared to do anything else. You know, there's no right answer is the wrong answer to that question, I would say. Just got to keep doing it. I mean, things are always changing for me because there's always another module. Like, for instance, this evening, we could, if you like, is try this fella out. This is the, what is it? It's the Aurora from Qubit. They sent it to me to review, which is very exciting. I haven't looked at it yet. So we could plug that in at some point. I know it's a little bit different as terms of reverb. So could be interesting. Maybe we'll try that in a bit once I've had a beer and I've no longer care what I'm doing. You could ask Kebu to perform. That's the synth side. Kebu. See, I don't know. I don't know who movers and shakers in music are particularly, I'm afraid. So I'll be embarrassed to start with because I have no idea. Are you famous? I mean, I don't mean famous. I mean, are you any good? You know, the guy's probably got 10 albums out and is, you know, was on Top of the Pops or something. You know, I have no clue because I'm not very good at you know, anything beyond grunge. I kind of left it behind. I stopped, my brain stopped cataloguing music, if you know what I mean. You know, I can tell you anything about 80s, 90s, some even noughties music, but beyond that, no, I don't really remember anymore. You remember the Turnkey events, do you, Ian? Good Lord, you have been around a long time. Any events in Manchester? Who gives a monkeys? No one gives a monkeys. No one cares about that. We're talking about Norwich, mate. Norwich never gets nothing. Doesn't get anything. Manchester gets a load of stuff. You know, loads. There's always stuff happening in Manchester. So yeah, no idea. That's next to Leeds, though, isn't it? I mean, because it's all a little bit up north. Yeah, native instruments presets is all they have. That's partially true. Yeah, I mean, Yarmouth has some interesting places, but it's just that little bit further to go. I mean, if people are coming from anywhere other than Norfolk, or even some of Norfolk, Yarmouth is right over on the other side, you know. I mean, we could do something on the pier, at Cromer, for that matter. It's just a long way, You know, Norwich is reachable from London within a couple of hours, you know. Anything further than that just adds an hour. You know, that's always that thing for me when you're travelling home from anywhere. You get to Norwich, yay! Oh, I've still got another half an hour to go because I'm not in Norwich. I'm north of Norwich. So, yeah. No, Leicester. No, stop it with the other places. There is nowhere. There's only Norwich. That's all we're talking about. Will there be beer? See, that's a good question, Ken, because there is one venue, for instance, I've been offered, which is the Undercroft, which is this fabulous exhibition space which is under the War Memorial at the back of Norwich Market in front of the Guildhall. It all sounds very impressive, but you wouldn't know it was there. It's kind of like the underground toilets. But it's actually quite a large space where they have exhibitions and stuff. And we could potentially have that for 13 quid, which is quite a good deal. Downside being, it has nothing. It has no facilities. It's just an empty cavern. So there's no toilets, there's no bar, there's no chairs, no tables. Everything we would have to supply. There's a plug, I think, and a couple of overhead lights. But it's an interesting place. It's an interesting venue and could work. I do feel, though, that it would have to therefore be a Sunday, because if it was a Saturday, you've got the whole market going on right in front of it, and I think that would make it more difficult. And you'd get, you know, and it's also an area of where fairly drunk people hang out. and they would just be spilling in, and I'm not sure that's what we want when we've got all our gear there. So it would probably there be a Sunday, which isn't necessarily a problem, but also sort of health and safety and stuff. They say that you can only have 60 people in it, and that includes the people who are running stuff. So if I've got 20 people in, for instance, with tables with modular on, you can only have another 40 people, and that doesn't seem quite enough. And there's no bar. I mean, there's some pubs, plenty of pubs around that we could collar or ask if we could co-opt the pub a bit. You know, can we use your facilities if we send people your way for drinks and stuff? You know, so it has potential. There's another place called the Shoe Factory, which is in a slightly different part of Norwich, which is right next to what's called the Junkyard Market, which is fantastic. It's a big sort of strange outdoor street food place, and this is like in a disused warehouse. That would be awesome, but they are booked up through November, after which time they close because there's no heating. So it's like, oh, because that would have been the ideal one in my head, but unfortunately we're going to be denied that, I think. Oh, so Ian, you've a question for gearing up towards live. Do you get a Korg SQ64 or go in the direction of loopers? It's a good question. I would tend to sequence because that feels more changeable on the fly. I mean, looping, if you're talking about audio looping, can be interesting, but you need a lot of extra gear for that, I think, to make it interesting, to do interesting things with it. To do it simply, I mean, I got myself an RC5 looping pedal to do some live guitar performances at the Village Fete the other week, and that worked all right, but it wasn't sophisticated. It was just record a bit of this, record a bit of chording, stomp, and then play some lead over the top. That's about as interesting as it got. Whereas if you had the SQ64 or something like this fella, the Keystep Pro, which gives you keys and musicalness to play as well. You could store stuff. You could have, you know, a set in there and play different things, doing different things. Could be very exciting. Yeah, could be very exciting. Kickstarter for an event. I don't know about that. Take over the market square. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a permanent outdoor market, so it's permanent buildings built in the style of the old tents that used to be there, the old market stalls that used to be there. It's a little bit weird, but quite good fun. A Molten Live orchestra session. Participants could each bring a 6U rack, could sync, and it could be a modular prom. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I was thinking about, one of the things that Bafako like to do at trade shows is they try to sync everyone. So everyone who's in their space, like all the Spanish lot, they all run to one clock so that when you're demoing gear, everything kind of runs together, which is a really nice idea. So I quite like that possibility, to the point that I was thinking, well, maybe I should buy like a 10-pack of those, what are they called? Those Ableton Link... can't remember what they're called now, but those Ableton Link modules, so that everyone could have one of those, and so wirelessly we all sync up. I mean, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Possibly. So something like that could be quite good. But yeah. Public people gardens. Yeah, I really like open air events. That would be great, but not in October, November time, I'm afraid. Oh, right, sorry, I'm looking at comments now from like 20 minutes ago. Hey, Wizodin2 over in Twitch. Good, well done. Well done for doing that. Good job. Thanks for sticking around. Yeah, I'm not paying anybody to fly in. I'm not paying for hotel bills either. I mean, I think, I'm certainly of the idea that, I don't want to be the guy who pays performers for exposure, man. I don't want that. But also, we've got no budget. It's not not as if we're going to be renting people. It's very much a do-it-yourself and come and have fun kind of thing. But how do you pitch that? How do you blend those ideas of oh hey Tom York, I'd really like you to come and play some modular for like free in Norwich. That'd be awesome. How do you pitch that to someone who's actually a professional musician? Or maybe that's the point. Maybe you don't go for professional musicians. You just go for triers like the rest of us. But then that seems rude to phone someone up or get in touch with someone and say, yeah, right, you're a bit rubbish. Why don't you come and do your rubbish thing at our place? Or, of course, it becomes an open mic night where anybody can come. I mean, that's interesting in itself. But, of course, then the quality of performance can vary enormously. Is that important? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I want to be responsible for all of these decisions. Ultimately, I'll just play myself for 3 hours. Because it's my bloody event, right? I'll play for 3 hours and everyone will love it. Maybe that's the answer. But I don't know. The important thing at the moment is to talk about it, to get the idea out there, and just massage things a bit. Then after that, find a venue, make that decision, and then talk about it a whole lot more. I think that's ultimately it, And with the intention to have a good time, to meet some people, to maybe raise some money for a good cause, and to gather more enthusiasts together in the east of England. I mean, I think really that's it. Oh, we could do it on the showground. That's a point. We could do it on the flipping showground. We could have like a proper expo. Oh, yeah. Alan Partridge, yeah. Who is this Kabu person? I don't think you need, Ian, I'd say I don't think you have to worry about how live is it. I don't think that's as important as you think. Because there's endless debate over whether sequencing is live or not, and how much you're doing. Honestly, if you set a load of stuff going and you move a filter, it will appear like it's a live performance, and that's fine. That really is fine. I mean, people fuss themselves to death over whether DJs are performers or not, and it's all pre-recorded or what. I really don't care. I don't think most of us care. I think most of us would just like you to have a machine out of which you tease some sound and melody and give the impression that you have some form of control over that. That's really it. So if you've got a lot of stuff that's pre-programmed, that's fine. Honestly, that's fine. I really think it's fine. I really shouldn't you worry about it. But what you should probably do for a sake of performance is, have that filter that you're going to change. Have something else like a modulator, like an LFO. There's nothing quite like speeding up and slowing down an LFO just for fun. Applying it to pulse width modulation or to something like that, just to apply a performance related change. That, or if you can stutter stuff or ratchet stuff occasionally or randomly, there's little things you can start to build in. Once you're performing with a sequencer, you can just tease out some things that you can do live that add to the idea that you are playing live. Does that make sense? But I don't think you need to get anxious about it, because people will mind a lot less than you think. Can you rent out the ground floor of Norwich Castle? No. Is the answer. There's a lot of refurbishment going on at Norwich Castle, so that's not really a thing. Circuit Happy, ML2. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, thank you. I think there's a simpler one, isn't there? I think that's a like that you make out of a Raspberry Pi or something along those lines. Anyway, I'll look into it. Yeah, I could invite Kraftwerk. The Bastille Pizza. I have not spent any time, well, I've spent a little bit of time with the Bastille Pizza so far. That's on my list. I've got, well, I know what I've got to do this week. I've got to do some mini synth stuff. I've got to do the Moog Mavis and create audio synths together as a bit of a thing. That's my thing for this week. That's my stuff. And I also have a lot of parental type responsibilities this week with kids as well. So, whew, but we're trying to squeeze all that in. But yeah, the Aurora and that, sure, yeah, I might give that a go. What time are we on? So we've been here an hour, nearly finished my drink. Maybe in a minute. Yeah. A Crumar Stratus. I have no idea what that is. Sounds exciting. Crumar. They do. That's an old. I don't know. Maybe investigate more modular artists. Yeah, sure. Yeah, 8 hours to Norwich. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, local celebrities, obviously. I mean, Stephen Fry, get him down. He's a local. Rowan Atkinson. Steve Coogan, of course. Yeah. Other Norfolk. The Darkness. They're a Norwich band, I think. Who else there? Pam Ayres. Delia Smith. Okay, now we're talking. I could get Pam Ayres in, right, to do some riffing poetry on my modular. That would be something spectacular. I'm gonna have to sample I Wish I'd Looked After My Teeth now, aren't I? The future sound of Norwich. Yeah. One tent foot on my lawn, maybe two. Roy of Wroxham, get him in. Yeah. What Pittsburgh Modular Podcast? Oh, the voltage. There's a new there's a new voltage research lab. 180 HP. Wow. I mean, I guess that fits or accommodates all of their Safari series, does it? Is that the idea? All of that stuff into a single, a single front panel, a double U, a 2-row front panel. Is that what you're talking about? Interesting one to throw in there, Perky Pat. John Cooper Clarke. No, I don't know who that is. So anyway, yeah, I will continue to dwell on it and think about it. You, of course, haven't resolved anything for me, thankfully. Thanks a lot. But I don't know. I mean, there does seem to be some enthusiasm for the idea generally. So maybe it's a goer. Maybe it's a goer. Pam Ayres' new workout. Yeah, I mean, if we can stream it live, of course we will. Yes, of course we will. no doubt. I mean, renting the forum, for instance, which is the, if you look up the Norwich forum, forum, yeah, put that in there. No, you can't paste stuff into there. You are kidding me. Can't paste stuff into there. There we go. So, I mean, this is one possibility. This is right in the centre of Norwich. It's where BBC Norfolk runs from. It's a big glass-fronted building, and you can rent that internal space called the atrium, I think, for about 750 quid for a day, which is not insurmountable. Do you know what I mean? You know, if we got 20 people down who paid a tenner for their table, that's 200 quid. People paid a fiver to get in, 100 people came. There you go, it's paid for. But it can't, I don't think you can pay. Yeah, opposite St Peter Mancroft, exactly. Yeah. I don't think you can charge entry. I don't think that's part of the deal, because it's an open space. You know, people can use the loos, and they can use the library and go to Pizza Express and that kind of thing. But you know, it's a good space. You could also use the outside space in front, but I think again it will be a bit too cold. They do have a side thing which is a little bit too small, I think. And also I wonder about sound in that space, because I've never seen something there which actually had performance going on. I've seen plenty of art and craft fairs and those sorts of things. So I don't know how well that would work. But being so close to BBC Radio Norfolk and Look East could be useful, particularly if I was able to get the odd celebrity involved to some degree. You know, it's possible. Yeah, we do get too busy, Mr. Synthetic. It is true. I mean, the other place that I quite like is the Norwich Arts Centre. But the difficulty being that they have started doing weddings, so they are all set up for weddings, which means they charge an absolute fortune. But it's a really great space. The auditorium, £60 an hour. Yes, that's just a room where you'd give a little seminar to 5 people. That's not really going to do it. But the Norwich Arts Centre is a converted church. It's in the slightly run-down, trendy part of Norwich, which is cool. It's a nice venue. It's got a refurbished bar. It would have a PA. It would be a good place for it, and you could have a proper performance going into the night, and you know it would work. It would do it for real, is what I mean. And I think that would be quite cool. But in the wedding brochure, they charge £3,000 for the day, so that's a non-starter, I think. However, I will approach them, because they may do something more reasonable for a bit more of a community style event. I mean, as I say, I am trying to rope it into some kind of charity and other bits and pieces. Thomas Dolby lives in Norfolk, does he? Okay, cool. So you know, those are possibilities. The Undercroft, just for comparison, but I think it's going to be too small, is my fear, even though it's a good venue. I think is this one. I can't believe I'm still talking about this. I'm sorry, it's just obviously it's on my mind, and I value your opinion. Ultimately, that's what I'm talking about. The Undercroft, I think, is really cool. It's just this difficulty with not having enough people in, and then not having any furniture or facilities at all. It's a bit like being in a car park, I think, that one. No, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's definitely an angle to be had with the Norwich Arts Centre. The fact that it would be an event and a gig, um, and so I think that would be different than a. So I accept the fact that it will be different than a wedding, absolutely. And so there must be some movement there, I think, particularly if it's a community-related thing. Yeah. So, but obviously, if any venue would already be having stuff on is the other problem. Yeah, don't need any big names. Well, but I mean, big names could open doors is the things. Yes. Right. Well, in that case, then I will. Let's have a look at this Aurora fella. Plug that in and see where it gets us. Oh, there's a quick start guide. Look at that documentation inside a Eurorack module. That is unheard of. Good lord. Right. What does it say? Welcome. Spectral Reverb, capable of wide palette of sounds from lush caverns to whale songs to alien textures you've never created before. Uses a phase vocoder audio engine which separates the input signals, time and pitch domains. Blurring these signals can achieve beautifully time-stretched tails. Okay. Plug it in, it says. Try sticking it around like this. Oh, it looks complicated. Look at all this. Look at all that. Oh, Ken, yes. Yes, the next one is the Noise and S&H. I haven't seen it on Erica Synth's website yet. As soon as it pops up, then we'll get that one done. And we're almost there, I think. So that's coming along. I know that Moritz has done photos of his manual and bits and pieces out on Instagram. So it must be coming along shortly. Get DivKid down? Yeah, maybe. He's a busy man, you know. He's a very busy man. So maybe we'll see how he goes. Right. Are you okay there, Bill? Are you having a bad time for some reason? Okay. Well, look, I've actually got patch examples, which is cool. Honestly, Bill, why does it matter? Why would that matter? Why is the genderization of names important to you? Yes. All right, Bill, I mean, if you want to have a conversation about something, that's fine. Do. I'm quite happy to talk gender politics if that's something that you're interested in. If not, I'll have to let you go. Oh, please. Really? You're out of your mind, mate. I don't know what possesses some people. It's really weird. Really, really weird. Beautiful back of that module. Look at that. Really nice. So what have we got in here? Is this a daisy? Yeah, daisy seed. Ah, okay. Right, what am I going to replace it with then? Because I've got my reverb. Oh, there I go, dropped it. So I've got a reverb over there. I'm going to find a hole. I'm going to have to momentarily take out the mini mod. Now, AG8 Synth sent me a couple of modules recently. The multi-burst envelopes, which is odd and interesting, and the mini mod. No, the mini mod tap tempo. voltage controlled LFO, both of which I need to give a bit more time for, which I haven't done as yet. So I'm sorry about that, Alan. I'll get to it. I will. There's just all in good time, but they are knocking around in my space, so I do try to use them when I can. I'm going to turn this off. I'm sorry if it goes beep. Let's pull this out. It's the BX mixer, the feedback mixer. I'll bring the camera over or something in a minute, okay? Or maybe I won't. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Oh, that's going to be tricky to plug in. Right, I'll steal that plug then for the minute. Take that out of there. Take that out of there. Get this the right way up because it's only got pins on it. -12, red stripe down on this occasion. Don't ever use that as a rule of thumb though. I've never found that to be consistent at all. Marco, hi on Facebook. Thanks for stopping by. Ever so sorry about the football. Don't get to say that very often. Oh, it's got a weird thing in the front. What's that about? Oh, I don't know. Wow, it's a beauty. Right, okay. I'm just going to have to bear with me a second. I'll bring the camera in, or I could set up my other one. Could I do that? Would that be easier? And I don't have to mess about with everything. Yeah, it is just a ball. That's true. That's true. No, I'll bring this in. Hang on. Stand by. It might cause some noise because my microphone's also attached to it. Don't pull on the power socket or that'll all just fall out. Okay, steady as she goes. What are we looking at? This thing over here? Oh, is he back? Oh dear. Really, mate? Is it really that hard? Dear, dear. Right, okay, so Aurora looking beautiful over there. Look at that. How fantastic is that? Hi, Purple. So what do I do with this thing? I need to run something through it, don't I? So that makes sense. I've got, if I just take what I've got plugged in already, we'll have a look at, is the sound all right? Because I'm not really speaking to my mic anymore. Can you hear me okay? Just let me know if it, and I can change things. So, so I'm going to take a single output, plug that into what? Let's say left, shall we? Right, left. Sound is good. Okay, cool. Now I've got this left and right coming out of here. I can use those in the left and right outputs. That's already panned. This is right in the way. Let's get that out of the way. Right, I've not set it up in any way. It's like a thunder sheet. Okay, let's take a patch from the patch sheet. So it suggests in the first instance to do it like that. Well, that was quite nice. It's suggesting that's the default patch. Okay, what I'm going to do is take my lovely tune coming out of the touring, plug that into the pizza, as somebody asked. Take the output of the pizza. And I'm going to use that relatively clean. So not through the filter. That's the pizza. What I haven't done, I haven't enveloped it. So what I'll do is I'll just apply an envelope to the pizza, just to give it something, a bit more shape, so we get the idea of a tail. So this needs to. What am I doing? Let's take all that out of there. So I've got that going through the scope for no real reason, but I quite liked it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the pulse output, which is triggering. I'm going to trigger number 4 over here. Then I'm going to take this cable, output number 4 from my quart. You're not seeing any of this, of course, because I put it in a bit too close. If I bring this back out, maybe you can see what I'm doing a little bit more. Does it matter? Who knows? But every experience is a learning experience, so that can go into there. I can plug that in. And then I can take the out, which was going to the thing, which is now no longer going anywhere. I can take the out here, plug that back in to be left in there. So, doing 4. Alright, anyway, back to the Aurora before I get too distracted. So what it suggests is for whale song, getting a bit of whale song, back in on the Aurora itself, it's suggesting warp goes a bit over here, time comes up, there, flutters down, now that's nice. Okay, we'll try Icy Shimmer. The spectral delay, native instruments. Yeah, I know what you mean. You see, I'm enjoying this a lot more than I ever enjoyed Clouds, and it has a similar vibe to it. Percussive textures. There's a little bit of sort of distortion in there. I don't really know whether that's my system or this as such. Oh, it says I might need to press the reverse. Did I do that before? Probably needed to do that before. Interesting, very interesting. Right, let's try this one called Contact. Kind of where I was already. That's really nice. So someone suggested using Surface. Let's just give that a quick go. I need to trigger it. Hang on. Ba ba ba. Trigger. What am I triggering? What am I using? Using that. I could use that. That is going currently into there. Pop that over here. Because of course that's what they would be using, that's what Qubit would be using. Don't know what shift does. Ooh. There's something over there. Something weird going on in there. Seems to have picked up something and then keeps playing that back. Sea Cave, running drums through this apparently is really good. Alright, well they got your own patch notes at the back. Cool, cool. I've evidently put it into some kind of loop. I don't really know how. I'm going to take anything out for the minute. Don't know what's going on with that. Well, weird. There we go. Well, that looks immediately kind of interesting to me, I think. Sorry, I have to make my face go really big. 1 second. Just trying to get it back in focus. Something where like that, I think. Yeah, good, good. So yeah, alright, so that's Aurora, a quick look around Aurora from Qubit. What time is it now? 2010. Am I going to have anything? Sorry, Asti, you know, your strange comments and capital letters, I'm afraid I'm going to have to say goodbye for now. I don't know what's up with the animals this evening. Who knows? Anyway, so there you go. I hope that was interesting. Obviously, I will do a lot more on it when I get to grips with it at some point. I think time is perhaps not the right thing to modulate. I don't fully understand what it's grabbing. I mean, I guess there's probably a buffer in there which is being worked on, but I seem to do something which made it happen all the time. I don't know how to undo that. I mean, I pressed this shift button and that's probably it. Oh, it goes purple. There's definitely some strange things in there. Lieutenant Uhura? Really? Oh, Ken? You don't have to bring us down. That's a real shame. One second. Trying to achieve something now. Shift and mix. Adjust the audio input level. So blue, I reckon. Blue is good. Is that blue? got this steady pulsing going on, and I don't know why. Anyway, so moving on. Let's turn that off for now, so otherwise it's an endless distraction, and we should probably be working towards some kind of climax at this point. Maybe shift is a bunch of different modes. Yeah, no, it is definitely. The shift gives the buffer, changes the buffer size from big and lush into smaller and kind of alien-like, is the idea, and also allows you to adjust the input level as well, which is rather cool. Anyone know if there's any Daisy Audio powered stomp boxes? I think there are. I can't tell you what they are. It's kind of out of my zone, I would say. But yes, the Daisy is everywhere. Adam asks, hello. That's not really an ask. What modules would you want as a minimum for integrating modular effects like this to an existing semi-modular collection? Line out, mixers and modulation sources. I mean, you can just have the effect. You can just run straight through it. I mean, it's got a wet and dry. You don't necessarily need other things. You can just use it as an effect. I mean, if you've got a semi-modular, then it will have an output probably at the right level, depending on which one you mean, to go through it. So you wouldn't necessarily need an instrument input, although that's a consideration. I've got an instrument interface here from Bafako, which lets me plug in line level sources, come out in Eurorack. That could be useful. But really, to run Eurorack effects, you don't need anything else. Having other modules like, for example, a matrix mixer or some kind of send return idea, a bypass, a mute switch, things like that can be useful. But just to integrate an effects module, you don't really, honestly, you don't need anything, I would say. Just go straight through it. Yeah, Ken, you'll never stop buying modules, mate. You have the Moog Trio. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so that will have output strong enough to go through Eurorack, no bother. So as I say, yeah, you don't need anything else. I mean, what are you going to go into afterwards would be the question, because it doesn't have a headphone output. So probably you'll take that. Is it got a stereo? Because stereo appears to be good. I can't really hear it very well here, but from what people were saying in the chat, the stereo is really good. So you want to go out to something where you can hear it in stereo. So that might mean an output module, which has got a stereo input. Are there those? Or a mixer. I mean, I'm using 2 channels of my Mix BX here, which is then has got an output through through something a bit more proper. That might work. I mean, the other one to think about, of course, is the Godfather Multi-Effects unit. That's very much styled like the Moog ones. I mean, it kind of drives me a little bit crazy that Moog have never released, or have yet to release, a multi-effects unit. I don't understand why they've done that or not done that. If you know what I mean. I mean, they've got these lovely semi-modular synthesizers, none of which have any effects in them at all. And they have all these Mooga Fooga pedals and old bits and pieces knocking around, old technology they used to use in the Mooga Fooga bits and pieces. Why can't they use those? Why can't they release a Mother 32 sized effects unit and output module? That would make so much sense. You know, people talk about their little mixer, their little chunky little box that they sell with the really. It's gonna be one of those days. What was I saying? Yeah, one of those mixers. Oh yeah, the little mixer that goes with the Moog Studio. People have been talking about that, which is great, and it's a nice little thing. But why not have that in a semi-modular style module? Have a mixer so you can mix your D-fan, you can mix your harmonicon, you can mix your Mother 32, stick all that through stuff. Have them all with sends to go through I mean, it doesn't have to be a spring reverb. It could be a digital reverb through a nice filter, add on a bit of delay, chorus. You know, that's all you're going to want. I don't understand why they haven't done that. It makes no sense to me. Yeah, the Volca mix, that's a useful little mixer. Yeah, that much is true. I think looking for digital modules, I don't think that's well, of course, I mean, you do what you like, but for me, that's not a that's not a differentiation. Does that make sense? As in, I'm not looking, oh, is this analog or is this digital? I'm looking for whatever it is that it does. So I'm not trying to be analog, although I do like that, and so I lean towards it. And with some digital modules, I find those harder, but also interesting. So I wouldn't decide to be one or the other in particular. Yeah, I mean, the Mother 32 does have audio in, but it's not particularly interesting. It's not particularly exciting. It's not pannable. You know, it doesn't really add to it. It allows you to get away with stuff, but that's about it. It doesn't elevate. It doesn't elevate your situation. Yeah, I mean, you've just got to give things a go, Adam. I mean, one thing that I did early on was I got some Behringer pedals, you know. What's that? A digital delay. So that would cost like 30 quid, and it's a digital delay. And I routed out my Eurorack and bits and pieces through this and back in again. I still would if I could be bothered, but I can't be bothered, so I don't. But you know, try stuff out. It doesn't have to be expensively tried out either. It could be quite cheaply tried out. I would say. Anyway, I feel I'm running out of steam rather. So I'm probably going to bring this to a little bit of a close. I think. And that's not your fault. I'm just a little bit knackered. I keep thinking I'll go open a second beer, then I'll go, nah, I don't really want it. I just want to go to bed. So I think I might do that. Yeah, no, I mean, somebody asked me earlier on the chat, how many dollars does this represent? And no, it's not a happy thing to go and have a look on Modular Grid. No, it's not. Oh, okay. Ape, thanks for your comments on that. A little bit ugly. I mean, I've heard some, you know, with my ear to the ground as it is, I've heard a few grumbles about the Aurora, in as much as I think it was the first time. No, I take that back. Qubit did actually pull the finger out and made a couple of videos about the weird sequencing one that I have and have never got to the bottom of. I bought it. What's it called? Blend or something? I forget. But they actually started making their own videos on how to work their stuff, which was great. Beforehand, you were just left in the dark, floundering around. But anyway, they started doing some, and I think they've done some on the Aurora because they've had a little bit of bad feedback of people going, "Wow, I don't know, it doesn't sound. Don't know what it's trying to do. What's it trying to do?" So I think they've given it another go, which is another reason I think also for this, some patch examples, because I think you can find ugliness in it. You can find, I mean, I kept finding this particular tone that was in there that I wasn't liking. I was trying to find my way out of it. Data Blender, thank you. And so yeah, that may be true. I'm going to have to spend a bit of time with it. Bloom, thank you. Yeah, not Data Blender. Ape, you don't know what you're talking about. Jeff's the man. I know, but with all of their stuff, I mean, it's the Qubit stuff. I think they have excellent ideas, excellent presentation, but there's a bit of a but in there. I mean, all I can talk about is from my own experience. And Surface, I think, is a fantastic string module. Model. I love the string in there. The range from the decay to the muted is gorgeous. The strike, the tone, all of that is just simply lovely, and it's 8 voice as well. And I love all of that. However, all the other models I don't like at all. There's nothing in there of additional interest for me. It's only that particular string one, and so there's something about it which makes me think, well, I'm kind of only using a small part of this module. I could be using a lot more of it, and I don't really like that. So there's that. When we go to the data bender, there's sweet spots in it which are just glorious, but there's also a lot of nonsense as well. We're going, what? Why? I mean, the best use of it I found was when I was able to switch it in and out. I used the matrix mixer, the Erica Synth matrix mixer, and switched it to it every now and again and switched it back out again. And that was really effective. I really liked that. But I didn't like having it on all the time because I was never quite sure what was going on. So it's like, oh. And then with Bloom, it's like, can you get a tune out of it? I have no idea. What are all these do? I don't know. So there's something in the actual execution of those modules that perhaps is either too difficult, too strange, or has sweet spots and then blah either side. But then maybe that's true of, I mean, I've certainly found that to be true of Mutable Instruments stuff, which, you know, is, I suppose, an interesting comment perhaps on digital modules themselves, in that they do have sweet spots and interesting bits surrounded by a lot of blah. Maybe Aurora is going to be like that. So, oh wow, that's amazing, great, let's keep it on that setting, and then, oh, load of crap, oh, there you go, there's something that's amazing. Maybe that's it. I'm going to have to see. Yeah. Interesting. So, okay, so let's talk about what's coming up then before I call it a night. So this week I'm working on, well, I'll show you quickly. I've had this little thing come through the post. Don't know if you saw that. I wrote about it on Gear News. The MIDI Cake ARP, multi-channel parametric MIDI arpeggiator. Why is that interesting? Well, because I want to do a video on the Moog Mavis, a little bit late on that, of course, but everybody else has already told you how beautiful it is. But the point being that I want to do the Mavis in comparison to the Create Audio stuff, because I think the Moog Mavis is probably brilliant. Well, no, not brilliant, it's the wrong word. It's probably a beautiful little synthesizer. But I also suspect that there are better synthesizers for the money out there, like the Create Audio ones, like perhaps the Dreadbox ones, you know. And in some ways I think Moog is playing in a pond it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to go as low as it is, because I think it creates too much compromise in what they're doing. You get crappy knobs and a bad form factor, you know, these sorts of things. Whereas a company like Create Audio and Dreadbox can do more interesting, innovative things at a cheaper price point, just simply because it can. And because it doesn't have the mode of operation that Moog has. Because with the things like the Mother 32 and the DFAM, they are brilliant synthesizers. And that's, I think, enough. I think it's enough to go that far. I don't think they need to go down to ultra cheap stuff, because it starts to devalue their expertise. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's nice to be able to get a Moog synth for cheap. That's true, but I don't think you get as much value as you could be. I mean, you're better off actually getting a Behringer Model D, I would say, when you're starting to get to that sort of level. Anyway, so my idea is just to compare what you get in the Moog Mavis if we strip away the aura of Moogness a bit, just just put that to one side. Okay, it's a Moog, but let's put it to one side and see how well it performs next to these other desktop synths. Does it have interesting features? Does it have a good build, good feel to the knobs, that kind of thing? That question. So that's what I'm going to be looking at, and I'm going to be using the ARP for that polymetric, whatever it is, polyphonic arpeggiator to run the show. I thought that might be interesting. I then hope to do a video on that by itself at some point. So my plan for this week is to get stuck into a few of these desktop synths and see how they go. Then I want to be doing a little video on the Befacco AC/DC, which I've got here, which is their little USB audio module, because I think there's things that need to be said about it to help Windows users. So I'd like to do a little bit on that. So that's coming up. I know Professor Lume would like me to do something on the Vega, which they kindly sent me, and which of course I should be. So I would like to, because that's been quite interesting, and I would like to get into it a bit deeper. And I have a certain amount of percussive area to solve that I still haven't quite solved yet, and so that's part of that solving. So I want to look into that a little bit deeper. Then this Thursday, there's an electronic open mic night in Norwich, and I'm trying to take my rig along and go and have a play. But that's going to take a bit of work. I mean, I can probably pull off something for a bit, but I'm going to have to work on that. So, yeah, I've got to put a bit of time into that. So let's see if I can get that desktop synth done first, and then maybe work on the patch for Thursday. That might be all I'm going to be accomplishing this week. Because it's the beginning of the month is good for me. Sorry, I was about to jump on another bit of spam. It's just someone spelt Moog in capital letters Ian. You had me jumping there for a minute. What was I saying? Yeah, beginning of the month is good for me because I don't have any deadlines. It's always at the end of the month I've got a whole stack of deadlines I've got to fit a load of stuff in. So I'm usually all right for these first 2 weeks. Hopefully I'll be able to squeeze out some good videos, because I've got plenty in me. I've just had struggled with time for the last month or so. So yeah, any last questions before we fobble off? If I want to learn more about this stuff, do I Google modular synthesizers? No, you stay on my channel. You go and check out all my playlists on my modular journey, and watch those. Take a couple of days, some snacks, and embed yourself in a whole journey of lots and lots of videos I've done on this malarkey. And there is a playlist. If you go to moltenmodular.com, then you will find all the videos there that are just on the modular stuff. That's a good place to learn. I would say. Also try Learning Modular. That's a good place to go as well. He does a great job of stuff over there. But there's loads of content out there on modular synthesizers now. You'll be overwhelmed. But if you want to follow a beginner's journey, then I can highly recommend my own videos, because that's exactly what I was attempting to do. And I'm still on this journey. Jeff, they need to drop it. Just drop it. A guitar is a guitar, for heaven's sake. Stop trying to turn it into MIDI. What's the purpose of it all? We keep desperately trying to do it. Just, I don't know. Oh, great. That's good to hear. Long-time subs are always appreciated. Modular synths, is that the correct term? Yeah, sure. Modular synths is good. Euro rack is another one, because there is different forms of modular. Euro rack, so euro like the currency, rack like a rack. That will keep you in this format, which is the simplest, most accessible format. That's a good idea. Yeah, it is remarkable. Good, right, yes. So, oh, the other thing was that I mentioned in the Molten Monthly that if you are a boutique maker of modular, then to to get in touch and I'll give you a shout out, that kind of thing. I will, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, Cisco, of course you have. So yes, so I mean that if you're a boutique modular maker, then always get in touch. I mean, the other thing, I write for Gear News, which is a news website, and although we don't tend to post articles on tiny weeny things, I do have this modular roundup, midweek modular roundup article I have to create every week on a Wednesday, which can have something I can write just a paragraph on or two. So if you've got something new and interesting, then let me know, and I will genuinely write about it on the midweek modular. And if it piques my interest, I'll talk about it on the Molten Monthly following. So quite happy to do that. So feel free to get in touch. And if you have any sensible ideas about the Norwich thing, again, get in touch. Maybe you know the person who runs the art centre. Who knows? I'm up for ideas. Looking at the end of October or end of November for a cool event. Oh, Mero, thank you very much. Oh, good luck to you, mate. Good luck to you. That's very kind. I'm sure Canadian dollars, which I assume those are like gold dust. Great. Well, look, let me work up a patch as by way of finishing this evening. Well, I don't know how. I'll turn this on again and I'll plug a couple more things in, is what I mean. All right. And we'll see how we go. So thanks ever so much for tuning in. It's been great. Lots more goodies to come and stuff. Sorry I said stuff. I was trying not to. After somebody mentioned I said it. I don't know. Anyway, looking forward to things. Have a good summer. August, isn't it? Crikey. Flipping it. Will I get a Molten Monthly in at the end? I think I might be able to. I'm away the bank holiday, but I should be back enough. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, let me just have a bit of a fiddle, and I'll say goodbye in a minute. Right, what was I doing? This thing. It's still going dump, dump. I don't know why it's doing that. If I bypass that for a second entirely, plug that in here. It's somewhere else. Something else. Weird. Found it. All right. Well, that went on a lot longer than I thought. But hey, never mind. That was fun. That was fun. It gave me a couple of ideas. It gave me a couple of things to do with the pizza that I hadn't thought of before. And also, I wonder what the heck those buttons do. Yeah. Yeah. Doop-doo. Making funny noises and stuff. Cool. Good morning, Simon. Well done for catching us just as we're about to go. So there we go. 10:30. That's good enough for me, I think. 2-1. Congratulations again to the Lionesses on their fabulous little bit of football this evening, which I do indulge in from time to time, to reassert some kind of normality. I enjoyed that bit of jam. I enjoyed that bit of Aurora. We'll look at that again in more detail. So thanks ever so much for joining me. Take it easy out there. I'll see you soon. Anything you have to say or want to say, do feel free to get in touch. Cheers. I'll find the outro music. Hang on.